Alright guys, so today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a review for Need for Speed Unbound. It's not going to be like a fully fledged, fleshed out review, but I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts on the game. I've been a fan of Need for Speed for the longest time. Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005, Underground, some of my favorite racing games of all time, honestly. Most Wanted sticks out the most for me in the memory anyway, and I think I've played pretty much every Need for Speed game since. I started my other YouTube channel, the Apex Hound, with a Need for Speed video. Actually, that was the first video I ever uploaded on there in 2014, I believe. What one was that? Need for Speed Rivals or something like that? I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I love Need for Speed, and Need for Speed Unbound was a bit of a funny one for me because I started off really not liking it at all, and then I kind of was liking it, and then I wasn't again. I kind of went through these weird phases with this game, and I kind of went back and forth on it a little bit. But yeah, overall I'd say it's just a bit of a mixed bag for me, and there's kind of three main points I want to touch on, and that's the gameplay, the story, and the characters. And I feel like I like the gameplay, the story's okay, and then the characters are just like But before I get into that, I wanted to mention that the game has really nice graphics and style, actually. I wasn't sure about the style at first when it was first revealed, but I actually think it was really enjoyable, and I think that the characters, the way they looked and stuff like that, and the way that the cars looked while you're driving them was really good, and I really enjoyed that style, and it was unique and different, and I enjoyed the take that they had on it, except for the bad lip sync from the characters. But other than that, yeah, it was a really positive experience in terms of the style they went for with the game and the art style and stuff like that. So that was cool. Now let's talk about the gameplay first, I suppose. So this is definitely the part I like the most, and Need for Speed Unbound makes it feel good to control the cars, and the upgrades really do make a massive difference to how the car feels as well. The game has a day-night system where you have to go out in the days and do some low-heat races for lesser money, and whatever heat you get during the day carries into the nighttime, and that's where the real fun begins, really, with the high races, or the high money races, rather, the races that you do for the big bucks. And I will say, while this is an interesting system, I didn't really enjoy it all that much personally. It feels more like a grind to make money than having fun with the races a lot of the time. You need because by the end of the week, you need a certain amount of money to enter the big race, and that's basically the system. Is you have 1 week, and then there's a big race at the end of that week, and then you have another week, and there's a big race at the end of that week, and yeah, you need a big buy-in at the end of the week, basically, and you have to keep that money to enter that race. And it kind of restricts you a little bit from buying and upgrading multiple cars that you want to mess about with and have fun with, without grinding like crazy to do so. And this wouldn't really be a big problem for me if the races had more variety, but I think they all are kind of more or less, well, at least they feel the same anyway. I'm not saying they are the same. There is a little bit of variety here and there, but they all kind of feel the same. And that kind of came to a head with me when there's this big, massive build up to the Grand. And honestly, it was just more of the same with the races. It was more the same type of races, except you used your 4 different type of cars or whatever. And definitely, I feel like the takeover events are where it stands out. They are unique and fun, and I really enjoyed doing those ones once I got to grip with what to do in them. And on top of that, the deliveries and the collections were enjoyable side content to make extra money. I got particularly excited about delivering a BMW from days gone by, but I won't delve too deep into that. And the collections as well were a good way to get to know some of the characters in the game that you're racing against, and almost made me feel like Ryan Gosling and Drive a little bit, where I'm kind of doing these dangerous little collections of people and dropping them off in their safe space, or their safe house rather, I should say. Now I will say the cop chases are more of an annoyance than anything. I played the game for about 15 to 20 hours and I didn't get busted once. I just felt annoyed by them most of the time, honestly. Like, you get away from them, and then when you're finally away from them, you have to get back to the safe house then, and then on the way back to the safe house, you just have to try and actively avoid them, and you're kind of swerving off road. It is cool in one way, but in one way I'm like, I already escaped them. Like, I shouldn't have to do this again, because then if you're really close to your safe house and they spot you, you have to go away from your safe house and escape them again and then come back, and it's like, it's the same thing over and over again, it feels like. But I don't know, at times the cop chases did feel tense and stuff like, but more often than not, they were just a little bit annoying to me. Especially as well because I feel like you get wrecked too easily in this game. Like, it'll give you a wreck screen and reset you in a lot of instances where I felt it would have been more beneficial for me to just keep going. I mean, it does sound like I'm being overly negative about the gameplay here, and I really don't mean to be, because it's more some of the design choices that I don't like, because it really is quite fun to drive the cars. Like, the gameplay feels really good and all the cars feel unique, and especially when you're doing like different upgrades for them. I do think that the gameplay in this game is really fun, and I had a good time doing it. I might even go back and like clean up some of the side content and stuff like that, just because I enjoy driving around the world and having fun with it, because there's some collectibles and stuff like that as well, like the billboards and the paint stuff. I never really felt like too attracted to that like I would in a game like Burnout Paradise, but they were still kind of fun to collect along the way. At least I didn't really go out of my way to get them, but they were enjoyable to get along the way. Now, next up is the story and characters, and if I'm trying to separate the two, which is kind of hard to do as they're interconnected, I would say, I actually enjoy the story, but the characters and the dialogue completely ruin it. Now, I enjoyed the baseline of the story with Rydell and your own character, and enjoyed that kind of relationship. Even with Yaz at the start, I was kind of enjoying that, but eventually Yaz just becomes completely unlikable, and then they bring in Tess to kind of I guess replace Yaz as the female sidekick or kind of friend, I guess. But in my opinion, they are just wrote to be incredibly unlikable and ruin the vibes completely. They're terrible people, and they have unbelievably cringy dialogue. Specifically Tess, where she's like, yeah, brah, nah, brah, that's fine, brah, you suck, brah. I'm playing all my money, I'm playing all my cards, brah. It's like, dude, shut up. Like, honestly, the amount of times she says brah in the game, like, it's genuinely like this game, the dialogue was wrote by a 9-year-old or something. Like, a 9-year-old who thinks they're from the hood. Like, genuinely, that's what it felt like. It was awful, man. Genuinely, some of it was just so bad. It made me like, oh, I couldn't believe what I was listening to, honestly. But yeah, it feels like throughout the game, it has to have one of them against you, basically, and it just overall feels annoying. Like, Yaz she starts by kind of being friends with you and then turns against you and then comes back and has this little redemption arc, but it really makes no sense why she did what she did in the first place. It wasn't explained well. It was just poor, and Tess, who seems like she's your friend, kind of betrays you, but then at the end you're like, oh, did she really betray? I don't know. It's like, it just overall was really badly written, but I guess I'm kind of expecting a little bit much from a Need for Speed racing game, and I feel like maybe the stories in Need for Speed Most Wanted and Underground were kind of silly and cringy as well, probably looking if I go back and play them now, but it's like the nostalgia of those games hits so hard and it's so good. But I don't know, maybe that was just a different kind of I was a teenager then, obviously, when those games came out, so I don't know, maybe I just have a different taste now. But overall, I feel like even the Most Wanted story, like, it had those kind of cringy storylines a little bit. I just caught my water as it fell. I'm actually a god. But it also didn't feel like the dialogue was that bad, or like it was kind of still like tense and funny and fun rather than just annoying, you know? But just, yeah, overall, the dialogue from some of these characters in the game actively made me gag and kind of took me out of the fun I was having within the game. And that's not to say you won't have fun within the game, because I do really feel like there's a fun game within this world, and it's fun to drive the cars and it's fun to do some of these races. I wish there was a little bit more variety with the races, but overall, I think they're well done, and the game is a fun game. I wouldn't really say it's one of my favorite Need for Speed games. I see a lot of people saying this is their favorite Need for Speed game in a hot minute. I wouldn't really agree with that. I honestly think that the more recent Need for Speed games I've enjoyed more, even Need for Speed Heat or Need for Speed 2015 or whatever. Was it called just Need for Speed, I think? Anyway, thanks so much for the support. That's pretty much where I'm going to end it. I'd say I would recommend this game if you're a Need for Speed fan and you kind of just have a racing itch. But if you're not really, I don't know how to really rate this game. That's why I'm kind of sick of doing scores anyway. I feel like it's kind of pointless to do scores on every review, because every type of game is different. Every score is going to be weird and different, and the scoring system in general just doesn't really work too well. But anyway, thank you guys for the support. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little review on Need for Speed Unbound. Sorry that it was a little all over the place. I was kind of rambling, and I know I went on for a while, for a hot minute, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video anyway. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. And let me know your thoughts on Need for Speed Unbound. I'd love to see what you guys think of it, if you guys love it, if you guys don't, and if you guys hate it, if you guys hate the characters as much as me, because Jesus Christ, some of them are just absolutely outrageous. But thanks for watching anyway, guys, really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. It's been my pleasure to serve you all. Peace out. Look out on the channel for some upcoming new series and stuff like that. It's going to be awesome.